Hello everyone, Josh Benko here from Leaf Trading Cards, doing the weekend preview for college football for this week. It's really getting down to the nitty gritty. Teams only have one or maybe two games left, and then conference championships. We're really starting to get an idea of how the playoffs are going to shake out. So let's run through some of the big games for this week. You start with Missouri-Oklahoma, probably the biggest game this week. Oklahoma coming off a huge win at Alabama. Can they avoid a slip up against Missouri? Missouri is still ranked, but Oklahoma can't afford a loss and slip to a 3-loss team. That could knock them out. Miami at Virginia Tech. Not an amazingly big game, but Miami's trying to get into the playoffs. At VT can be a tough place to play. Miami cannot afford to even have a close game at this point. They have to knock the socks off of these two teams in their last games. USC at Oregon, huge game here. Oregon hasn't really beaten anybody yet. They did have their only losses to Indiana, but they haven't won any huge games. This is their chance to kind of solidify that they are actually as good as their ranking shows. For USC, a chance to stay in the race. If they can win at Oregon, maybe they're still in. Arkansas at Texas. Probably not going to have a huge impact, but can Texas rebound? There's still an outside chance they make it with their 3 losses, but they really need to crush it these last few games. Pitt at Georgia Tech is a huge game for the ACC. If Georgia Tech wins, they're in the ACC championship game. If Pitt wins, it's going to throw the ACC into even more shambles. Can Pitt recover from getting slaughtered by Notre Dame last week? And can Georgia Tech recover from barely beating Boston College? BYU at Cincinnati, another big game. BYU is still hoping to get in, even though they have a loss, but they can't afford to lose at Cincinnati. They've got to stay relatively unblemished with just that one loss to Texas Tech. And then we're ending it with Arizona State, Colorado. Arizona State still has a chance to win the Big 12. Obviously, this will be Juju's second game starting. Looking for big things from him. He was great in his first game. Got an off week last week to get ready for this game. Guys, it's going to be a fun week. Teams cannot afford a slip-up at this point. If you want your team to make the playoffs, they better win. But not only that, the way the rankings are working, you better win decisively and by a wide margin. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you next week.